What?
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Bike Walk Commission meeting. It is May 2nd. This is our monthly May meeting. We're going to go ahead and start with public comment. I've reordered the agenda a little bit in the hopes that we have members of the public who want to get in and get out. Do we have anybody? I'll go ahead with members of the public who are in attendance. I have a couple statements that were submitted via email that I'll read, but I'll do that after we have any live comments. So if you're a member of the public and you're interested in providing a public comment, please put your hand up and we'll call on you. Don't all jump at once. Okay, then I'm going to go right ahead. We have two letters, one from our friend Audrey, a frequent participant in our meetings, and then one from Brad Craighead, who was also doing our meetings before. Both of them are about the Earth Day celebration that we participated in a week ago. So I'll start with Audrey's. And you know what, I'll just share my screen, might as well. Okay. To the Bike Walk Commissioners, the Earth Day celebration on the Green on Saturday, April 23rd, 2022 on the Norwalk Green was surely the place to be that day. As an organizer, I feel it was a big success, exceeding my expectations for this first-time event. We received a good deal of press, and the beautiful sunny spring weather made it a real photo op kind of day. Of note, the Earth Day event featured 20 participating environmental groups and city departments with tables and displays, including the Bike Walk Commission and Bike Co-op, 6 City of Norwalk departments who offered assistance with planning and goods, 2 guided walking tours and 1 bike tour, Keep Norwalk Beautiful volunteers who did cleanups on their way to the green, police presence and teen police cadets who helped at crosswalks, remarks by the mayor, TMP director Jim Travers, and common council members. In summary, events of this kind are, quote, community building in intention to foster networking with groups and individuals who care about the health of the earth. And we also did as much as possible to get folks to the green without their cars, encouraging the public to arrive on foot, bike, or by public transportation. This was a grassroots effort met by city officials, a phenomenon that can't be planned, but happened. And how amazing is that? Let's build on this. The Earth Day planning team is looking towards Earth Day 2023 with a great emphasis on walking, biking, driving electric vehicles, and using public transportation to get to the green without fossil fueled vehicles. Let's hold a competition for the most original way to get there. Thank you to the Commission for participating in the Earth Day event. We made a big impact and I look forward to more collaboration with the Bike Walk Commission. In your absence, Audrey, thank you for your kind words. And on behalf of the Commission, it was a lot of fun to participate. Audrey did a ton of work, by the way, to plan the thing. She basically was the glue holding all the different groups together. I'll move on to Brad's letter. I'll share my screen again. Respectfully submitted by Norwalk Green Association, Brad Craighead, co-founder. To the Bike Walk Commissioners, as a community organizer for the Norwalk Green neighborhood and a member of the planning group, I'm very pleased to report the event was a huge success. Collaboration and partnership with the Norwalk Bike Walk Commission and the city's ongoing Keep Norwalk Beautiful cleanup campaign proved a powerful combination towards raising awareness around environmental sustainability and urban ecology. In advance of next year's Earth Day celebration, I would propose that Bike Walk and K&B create a more formal alliance to promote more walking trails, bike routes, in conjunction with volunteer cleanup crews that ultimately lead to the midday event on the green. In order to ensure broad-based support for this working group on Earth Saturday, a logical third partner would be the Norwalk Board of Education and the Norwalk Public School System. A citywide community building effort could therefore conceivably culminate on the green to raise awareness around these environmental causes with prizes awarded to Best Earth Day K&B costume, Best Earth Day Bike Walk costume, Best Earth Day Vehicle costume, etc. In our view, the Earth Day celebration was and is an opportunity to celebrate life and our shared values at the most basic level through community building and best expressed through participation. Perhaps this letter of support for the Bike Walk Commission and its outreach program will help generate further ideas for a broad-based community event centered on the green for years to come. We look forward to planning next year's celebration. Kind regards, Brad. So I'll add to that, or I agree with Brad. I think that the event was a success and I would love to participate again next year. I met with the planners of the event, about 6 other people a few days ago, and everyone is excited to plan next year's event and to make it bigger and better and involve as many people as possible. Anybody want to comment on the green, on the celebration on the green on Earth Day?
Tanner, I have Brian Boland raising his hand. Should I
Yeah,
unmute him?
Brian, go ahead.
Hi, Tanner.
Brian, what's up? Thanks for coming.
I enjoy this. We had such a nice time at the event. I brought my son and I got to meet you and Christine and had a nice ride. And I thought the event on the green was, I was really impressed. I thought it'd be like 3 tables and 10 people standing around. So it was really cool. I mean, I would have stuck around. I had to pick up my other kid. So we ended up having to leave right around the time everyone took their shoes off, which was actually pretty cool. But I basically just following on to what the others said, I just thought it was really cool. I kind of wish I could have done the walking tour and the bike tour at the same time because they were both interesting. They both seemed really interesting. But it just seemed like it seemed really good, especially because now the weather's gotten better the last couple of weeks. So I've been seeing a lot more people out, and I'm just kind of more aware of more people walking and riding and running and just being out, and it's just nice. So
Well,
I'll be
again,
there
Brian.
next.
Great, as will I. Brian reminded me of the bike ride. Mike Mushak, the previous chair of the Bike Walk Task Force, and we led the bike ride, and there were about 12 people who participated, including Brian and his son. So I would say that was a success. Chris, it looked like you raised your hand.
Yeah, thank you. And Brian, it was nice to meet you too. I mean, I thought it was wonderful. Our role that we played, the commission, I mean, the bike repair station was nonstop. I mean, Colin and Tanner, you helped so many people and so many happy families with the kids, and that was wonderful to see. And also as part of the bike walk, and yeah, you reminded me also, Brian, of the bike ride, that when we were in the streets, like by South Norwalk, like I could see, like we were a force to be reckoned with on the street. And, you know, that sended a loud message that biking in Norwalk is safe for people to join something like that, a family activity. So I would love to keep that going, that kind of an event maybe on Sundays. I mean, I would commit to that, just a fun family ride. I mean, yeah, I think we were a real presence and we sent a loud message. That's my feeling.
I would love to continue doing that as well. If you want to spearhead that, I will show up and I will make sure that it gets promoted on our social media. I might ask Emily to help promote that.
Okay, sounds good. I love that route. I don't think we even have to change the route. You know what I mean? Not complicated. Keep it simple.
Yeah. I do want to recognize Sherry, who has just joined us. Sherry, welcome.
Hi. Yeah, and I just want go ahead, Tanner.
Oh, I was just going to recognize you were also helping on Saturday at the Earth Day event, right? You were at the health department table.
I wanted to mention I was at the health department table passing out and giving people information about walking in Norwalk. And there, I didn't realize, because I've done a lot of those walks, and the mayor used to lead a couple too, and I used to go on those. There are 17 brochures, there are 17 walking neighborhoods. So I was giving those out to people. Some people didn't even know that was in existence, and we'd open the books. There's there's information, and then there's a map inside, and we'd go over them. And I just wanted to say, and I walked over to the bike trail side to say hello, but you guys were so busy with tune-ups and stuff, which is a good thing. And we had, I mean, I just thought the energy in the park was just amazing. I mean, people came on their own bikes, little kids were having a good time, adults were having a great time. You know, we were next to the Tree Alliance, so I had some good conversations with them, but it was just so positive actually after, you know, a long winter and COVID. You know, to have everyone out and enjoying themselves. I think that was just wonderful. And thank you for including me. I had such a good time, and I'm looking forward to doing more things. The only complaint that I heard from people was there were no bathrooms. There were no porta stands or anything. We had a lot of people coming over and asking where to go. And I would just send them to the church. I saw the churches were, you know, their doors were open. You know, I don't know if they were doing tours or what, but so people would go over there. But I think if we do this again, we really need porta stands or something. You know?
Yeah, I can pass that feedback along to the organizers. I think that the official bathroom solution was to just go over to the church. So that's
But people just didn't know. I
as
mean,
well.
there was no information on it either, but it all worked out fine.
Looks like Brian's hand is up. Brian, go ahead.
I just wanted to say one other thing. On the way out, or the way home, we took my son and I, he had never been on the Harbor Loop Trail. So we did the east bank of the Harbor Loop. And I'd done it before, and it's definitely more of a walking path than a riding path. A couple of places where you need to like actually push your bike. But definitely as a walking and running thing. I mean, I've run it a bunch of times. I know Mike's really into it. But I think it's an underutilized, underappreciated walking and riding feature in town that it was kind of my son was like surprised that it even existed. So it was fun, and it was a nice way to get home from the green that day.
Cool, glad to hear it. I will, since you mentioned it, just for anybody who is unaware, the Harbor Loop Trail is a vision for a trail that will loop around the harbor, and it's pretty discontinuous right now. You can see on Google Maps it has some sections that are marked, but even those sections, like this right here, is actually a gap. It's just like a dirt path through the trees. This is just a parking lot. This is just, you have to walk on the side of the road, etc. A few of these holes, like this hole and this hole, the city is actively working on plugging. They're doing the design work right now for the path that will connect those, as well as this section here. So if you want more details on that, I can provide them, but the city is working on those. The city is on board with the vision ultimately of having the loop, but there's some parts that are going to take longer than others. For example, right here at the walk bridge, I think that's several years out still, because it'll be part of the walk bridge replacement program, which is like a 10-year project. Anyway, we have gone over our time budget for public comment. Thank you for all of your public comments. Is there anybody who didn't get a chance to participate that wanted to? I don't see any hands up. Cool. Then I'll move on to announcements. Some of this, though.
Sorry, Tanner, I was trying to figure out how to raise my hand.
Oh, yeah.
I just wanted to take a second to thank you and Colin and Judd for manning the bike co-op because of my poor scheduling habits. And then just to say that you definitely lived up to, I think, the initial conversation that led you and I to start it, which was A, to primarily help kids, but then B, to just get regular people embracing alternative transportation. So that warms my heart hearing the public comment on how great it was.
Well, thank you, Sam. And I hope that you'll be more available over the summer so we can do some more.
I certainly will.
Cool. All right, moving right along to announcements. I've got a few announcements that kind of just are for public interest, but some of you, even the commissioners, may not know about all of these. So first of all, the redevelopment agency has been working for a couple of years now on a TOD plan, a transit-oriented development plan for the South Norwalk train station. They hosted multiple public meetings about it that I attended. They finally, in conjunction with, I forget, VHB, I think is the consultant they hired, they published like a 50-page draft report. And I read the thing. It was kind of long. I've got some feedback. It's longer than I have time to present here. But they are taking public comment on the report between now and May 9th. You can email it to koleary@norwalkct.org. That's on the agenda. It's also on the redevelopment agency's website. I'll just show that really quick so you can see what that looks like. But I encourage all of you to, let's see where it is. Last time I was here, there's a little pop-up. Oh yeah, here it is, South Norwalk Area Study. There it is. We are seeking public comments through May 9th. So there's a press release, and then there's this PDF right here, which is the 50-page PDF. Basically, the summary is that they suggest taking the land that's northwest of the station right here and turning it into a denser housing development. Right now it's public housing that's not that many units. They suggest various sidewalk and bike improvements. They suggest making a more proper, like, formal transit way for buses that would increase the transit capacity, or the bus transit capacity of the whole area. If you want more details, you should read the draft, or you can ask me offline. I can fill you in on at least the feedback that I had. But I encourage you all to read it and to submit feedback to Katie O'Leary. This is a great opportunity to have a lot of impact on a critical part of the city. So next agenda item is Connecticut Buses. I meant to mention this last month, and I think I forgot. Thanks to the state government, all buses in the state of Connecticut, or at least all public, like state-funded buses, are fare-free through the end of June. So you can ride all the buses, there's no charge. That happened in conjunction with a suspension of the gas tax, or maybe it was a reduction of the gas tax. That's something that I hope to promote some on social media to encourage people to try and get around some more on the bus. The buses around here are sadly not super frequent, but at least now they are free for the next 2 months. So I encourage you all to go check out whatever bus is nearest to you and try using it, because you don't have to pay. Next one, there's an organization, or that there's a group that's part of the Connecticut DOT called CT Rides, and they work with the Connecticut, like the Bus Transit Authority, and I think the Railroad Authority, to help people to drive less. And they're sponsoring a contest, or a challenge, I guess they're calling it, called the Drive Less CT Challenge for the month of May. And you can create an account and you can track your transportation, and you can win prizes for taking transportation that is not driving. They have these goals about how many people, or how many trips they want people to log, and so forth. The prizes are actually pretty decent. You can get like $150 bike credit. You can get a monthly rail pass. You can get a standing desk for telecommuting. I guess telecommuting is alternative transportation. So I encourage you, especially since you all believe in alternative transportation, to join this challenge, track your transportation. Maybe you'll win some prizes. And we're going to promote this on our social media as well. Last announcement, I connected with Caitlin Latham, who worked for the health department. She's actually moved on, but she owned a couple of digital assets on her Google account, and they have been moved over to Norwalk Bike Walk at Gmail. For example, the sign up form that's on our website, if people click sign up for our email list, it goes to a Google form, and that was owned by Caitlin, but now it is owned by us. So that's taken care of. I don't have any other announcements. Any questions about any of those? Great, then I will move on. We are back on schedule to Christine. Christine, you got 10 minutes to talk about Bike Month.
Okay, well, I'll just dovetail into what you were talking about. I guess I'm going to start with a question, unfortunately. I'm wondering if we should incorporate like the CT Ride Challenge and the fare-free bus rides right now into kind of a general for the Bike Month, as far as the commission kind of supporting those events. I'm writing a press release tonight for the event I'm going to be speaking about right now. But Tanner, maybe after the meeting or later, we could if we should put that together in the press release that we're doing and add it into kind of some events happening regarding, we could tie it into the Bike Month. So May is National Bike Month. It's an event that happens every year, and the League of American Bicyclists sponsors this and gives us ideas. So we have something kind of exciting that Emily Berneman and Colin and I have been working on really hard the past 3 weeks. And what it is it's the Bike Rack Poetic Challenge. And what this is we're co-sponsoring with the Norwalk Library, the Contemporary Prints, Center for Contemporary Prints, the Keep It Norwalk Beautiful, and am I missing another organization? I'm not, maybe one more.
The Poet Laureate.
Poet Laureate, right. I have the flyer here, Emily made this graphic, so it's the Poetic Bike Challenge. So over the weekend, and thanks to Colin and his wife, Nicole, we printed out signs with the poem. Let me back up. So we have the poet in Norwalk, Poet Laureate. Not all towns in Connecticut have a Poet Laureate, so we're kind of special. This is the second Poet Laureate we've had. His name is William Hayden, Bill Hayden. And he agreed to write a poem about Norwalk for this event, this kind of scavenger hunt, which we've mentioned before at this meeting. So he's written a 14-line poem. There's 29 bike racks in the city public bike racks. Right now, if you go to any one of those 29, you will find a line of the 14-line poem. And with a QR code that Emily created, and with Colin and his wife, they created the sign, so we have the poem. So it's a contest that's going to go, it's not a contest, it's like a challenge that goes all month long, and maybe even later on into the month. So we're going to have people, when they're going to put the poem together and take a video of themselves or a photo of themselves and upload that they've created the poem at each bike rack that they went to find how the poem goes together. That's pretty much the gist of it. And the mayor's office is going to send out a press release on it. That's probably tomorrow. And it's going to get onto the social media. So yeah, if you put your phone onto that QR code, it leads to the Google Doc that Emily created. So I don't know, Emily or Colin, do you want to speak to anything? Did I leave anything out? Well,
I guess the main thing we want people to do is take pictures and put the poem together, right? So at these different locations, we created a platform so that people can upload their pictures to submit, or they can use the hashtags Bike Walk Norwalk and National Bike Month to be automatically entered into the challenge. But to complete the challenge, they need to find the 14 different lines and put the poem together. So it's sort of gamified in a way. And we've also provided the map of the bike racks around town so that people can kind of get started in finding those hints and lines of poetry, but ultimately they'll need to put it together themselves.
And Colin thank you. Colin numbered each sign. So we have 1 through 14, I think, and then.
Yep. So this is the platform. So people can go and submit. I put the first one I saw this Sunday morning.
I was going to say, did I send that to you? Because that looked like my picture, but it's not.
Really? Oh my gosh. No, I saw it. I saw it posted. I'm sorry, I couldn't help put them up. But so people, I submitted through the form this way. And I'm hoping more people can, and then they can also see like, oh, there's another one near the Maritime Aquarium. But if you click on the submit, it should show, okay, the Bike Walk Challenge, the hashtags, and then they can upload their image here. And then that should be the link to the bikes. There we go.
Excellent.
And we tried to match up the poem that he wrote with, like, that one has sharks in the line. So we put that at the shark rack. Emily, I just have a question, Emily. Will other people be able to see people's photos, like a live kind of a site where they could say, oh, look, so-and-so's up there and did it? I don't know. We didn't really talk about that, but maybe we could talk about that next time we meet.
At this time it is, so people can see other lines of poems if they're tagging them in hashtags or they're submitting them through this form. If they're just emailing, then no, but they can post pictures here to collaborate with other people, and it's kind of gamified too, so more people can participate and share these locations with the different lines and see.
Okay, so as a participant, I have to submit this form once per photo that I find. Well, or once per rack that I find. Right?
Yes, I think so.
Or am I supposed to take all the pictures and then upload them together?
You can do it either way, I think. Well, I don't know if you can upload more than one image at a time.
So you're expecting people to upload one at a time?
We want people to put the poem together. I don't know if we want. Yeah. Can you upload? Well, we'll have to test that. I have to test that at some point.
Okay. I was muted earlier. I meant to say, for anybody who hasn't seen this map before, this is a map of all the bike racks that I know about in the city. It is probably incomplete. There are probably ones that I don't know about. If you ever find a rack that is not on this map, let me know and I will add it. Or you can probably tell Emily. I don't know if Emily, do you have edit privileges to this?
No,
Okay.
I don't, not yet.
Then I can send them to you. But in the meantime, if you find a rack that's not on the map, tell me. This, if you want to know how to get to this map, there is a link on our website. On the city's website. This is our website if you haven't seen it before. It is literally the first link on our page. It says the commission has made note of all bike racks in Norwalk and posted them here. That is a link to this map. So you can use that not only to find a place to lock up your bike, but also to complete this challenge.
That's cool.
Yeah, so then once they do that, we have T-shirts being made with the poem on the T-shirt with our logo on the front of the T-shirt and the poem on the back of the T-shirt. And that's where the Contemporary Center for Contemporary Prints comes in. They're making that silk screen, that shirt. So yeah, we're pretty much oh, Colin, go ahead.
I was just say I'm very excited about this, and I'm hoping people participate because I feel like it's a cool thing, and you know, if we get a nice press release and get some people participating, it could be some good press to talk about, and we'll need to get Tanner or somebody to post continuously on social media.
Yeah, and we hope to have an event at the end of the month with Bill Hayden reading the poem and maybe distributing the shirts to the participants. And we'd like to have it so anybody who participated gets a shirt. It's not like somebody wins or it's first one wins a prize. It's like anybody who does it. It's not that expensive, these shirts. We got a good price on them. And Bill Hayden is actually going to his to the Arts Commission to present the proposal tomorrow and to actually they have funding for this. So they may pay for this, the printing of the shirts and everything.
If we wanted to share this, can we announce this to our mailing list as well? We created a little copy. I sent it to you, Christine, to review, but this would be a good opportunity to engage our mailing list as well, to participate in this challenge. Is that something we can do?
Yes. Sorry, is that a question for me? The answer is definitely yes.
Okay, yeah, I guess so. Or what's that process to do that?
I have a spreadsheet that is full of email addresses. And that spreadsheet is where anybody who fills out the form that's linked that I mentioned a minute ago, the responses to that form end up in that sheet. And so I just copy paste from the sheet into an email. So I'll connect with you more offline about social media strategy, because I would love to not have to do all of this myself. So I will teach you how to do all of it.
Okay, sounds good.
And Tanner, when you post on social media, can you please tag the health department so that we can reshare everything onto our page?
Oh, sure.
Because
yeah,
followers now that COVID happened.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And I don't know who else we want to have them posted, like the Norwalk redevelopment, or definitely Michelle from the city and is going to be sending this out to people. But it would be nice to get it on other people's websites. So I was looking back for the bike month. We did the bike to work a while ago, 2000, I think it was 13. And we had a partnership with City of Norwalk, Parking, Norwalk Housing, the Parking Authority, the Redevelopment Agency, and the CT rides that you mentioned. So I wonder if we can get that out to them too. But that so Tanner, are we doing it? I didn't think about Bike to Work Month, like to promote that as well.
So I remember the only thing that we've talked about in this meeting, Greg mentioned, or maybe it was Jim or Garrett, that they were hoping to get the new bike racks in the Sono train station garage installed in time for Bike to Work Day. Greg, do you know if that's going to happen?
Unfortunately, no, it's not going to get done in time, but I will have an update for you when we go through the update, but it won't be done before Bike to Work Day.
Gotcha. Is there anything else that that has been discussed inside of TMP that could be aligned with Bike Month or Bike to Work Day?
Well, sorry, before we skip to that, Greg, I know Tanner, I'd like to have a bus bike demo demonstration. So maybe when we have that rack that comes in, that can be part of like, oh, we have a new rack and here's how you can get your bike on the bus and, maybe during commuter hour or something like that. I don't know when we can pull that off, but I've been wanting to do this for quite a while.
Greg, we can say the other details too until you're part of the agenda, but do you have an ETA for those racks?
We don't at this time. We're still going through the design process right now of what it can look like, and we're still, the RFP for the bike racks is still out right now. So until that comes in, so we're just waiting on a lot of moving parts right now to get that finished.
Gotcha. Yeah, Christine, in my opinion, I think the bike bus demo should be, like you mentioned, we should do it as part of a larger event. I don't think we'll get many people to turn out for just the demo.
Yeah, just during community. And I thought, so next year I'd like to do it on Earth Day and have one of those buses pull up there and do it there potentially, but. Yeah,
but if you can find a time to do it before then, I would be down. Oh, actually, you know what? That reminds me, there is another announcement that I forgot, that I left off the agenda. So whenever you wrap up Bike Month, I'm going to do that.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's what we're focusing on is this hunt. I mean, it's been a lot of work and Emily's been incredible and so is Colin. So I'm grateful for that help.
Great. Yeah, I second that. Thank you, Emily and Colin and everybody else who has helped. Yeah, so the event that I forgot to announce, or the announcement that I forgot, is about the Norwalk River Valley Trail, the grand opening. I forwarded this email to all the commissioners, but since there's way more people in this meeting than just commissioners, I'll repeat it. There's been another delay, sadly, in the construction of the missing link. There's a section right just south of New Canaan Avenue along Riverside Avenue. Here, I'll pull up the map, where because of the grade of the road, it's necessary to build like a little bridge or a boardwalk. It's right here. It's not even that long. It's just maybe a few dozen feet. But they're waiting on parts to come in on the bridge. The parts are delayed. And so they're estimating that the bridge won't even be done until the fall. They are planning on doing a soft opening of the rest. You know what? Let me open up a better map. We've got the bike plan. Here we go. So this right here is the missing link. It's under construction. Let me get a better base map. Hold up. There we go. So it's really just this section right here that's not going to be open this spring, but everything south of there should get paved in May or June at the latest. So there's going to be a soft opening and probably ribbon cutting with the mayor that's going to happen sometime in May or June. And then this part will be kind of unofficially, it's already kind of unofficially open, but it'll be paved. And there will have been a ribbon cutting. But the big grand opening event that we've been trying to plan since like 6 months ago, that will happen this fall in like September-ish. So maybe that would be another opportunity potentially, Chris, for doing the bike bus demonstration. Because we're going to be working together with Nancy and the NRVT board and potentially other people as well to have a big event, probably involving like a bike ride from top to bottom, because at that point we'll have 2.5 miles of off-street trail from Broad Street up here all the way down, following the purple to the aquarium. And then if we do a bike ride, we might go all the way to the beach, who knows. But that's kind of the vision. It's just been deferred by many months. Okay, any questions from anybody else about that or about Bike Month? Cool beans. The next agenda item is from Judd. Judd wasn't able to make the meeting tonight, but he did send me a couple details about swag. So Judd has been hard at work trying to order swag. He's been working with Carly Kramer, who's our liaison with the redevelopment agency, because she was interested in helping and had a contact for a vendor. Judd says, we have one vendor price that is slightly under budget, and I'm waiting on a second, but that person had COVID early last week, so they're behind, and they hope us to get us a price soon. So the jury is still out on when we're going to get the swag, but hopefully it'll be soon. For those of you who aren't caught up on that, I believe it was helmets and water bottles and bags. Does that sound right? Cool. Nobody's gonna disagree. So we'll go with that. Okay, it is 6:42. So let's move on to TMP updates. Greg, take it away.
All right, thank you, Tanner. So just to update everybody on the connectivity grant, DOT engineering, we submitted the final review for the encroachment permit for 136 bike route. And while they're reviewing it, we're putting all the other documents together to submit to DOT policy and planning for their approval. The engineering approval should come within hopefully the next week or two at the latest. So we're very pleased on that to get that final sign off and get all the other documents in order to get the funding that we were awarded a few years back. So we're hoping that gets here sooner rather than later. And as part of
To make sure I'm understanding that right, Greg, that means that like the ball will finally be back in our court, because it's been like months and months that we've been waiting
Right.
on the state DOT, right?
Yeah, DOT is like, I mentioned before, they're doing a thorough review, and they're looking at every sign, every foot of striping that we're putting in. And so they just are, and their review times is anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks. So we've been, they've been dealing with some turnover over there as well, because there's going to be a lot of retiring happening in June. So they're a little backed up right now. So we try to work with them and get them everything they need. But we're getting all the documents that we can ready, because then we have to resubmit to the policy and planning department, which the funding is coming from. So the engineering portion is just a sign off for the encroachment permit because it's on a state route. So that's where that approval will come from. And then we will just resubmit to the Policy and Planning Bureau for approval, and then we'll go from there. And then the other portion of that is also the sidewalk segment that we're also putting in on Hunter's Lane as well, that I mentioned last month. So that's part of the connectivity grant. So we have the design plans, which we did in-house. So we will be submitting those along with the cost estimate to DOT, so that we can get all that funding for the sidewalk portion, because that was part of the original approval. So it goes from Ponus to Lancaster. Yep, right to there. And then DPW is also looking to put ramps right in front of the school there, which will connect the two sidewalk segments, and then redo the sidewalk segment along the school property as well. So there will be a much nicer sidewalk there, and then it will continue and connect all the way to the Ponus Ave sidewalks as well. So it'll be a continuous sidewalk network in that area.
Awesome.
Yes.
So just to recap for people who are new to the meeting, the state DOT review that Greg was talking about has to do with like a crosstown east-west bike route and a north-south bike route that together will be basically the longest single bike lane construction project, I think, in the state, or at least
on
state DOT.
on street, yes.
Yeah. So excluding like the Farmington Canal Trail, for example.
Yes, yeah. Yeah.
But
And even and the NRVT as well, and excluding that as well.
So just to summarize for people who are unfamiliar, it's going to follow Route 136 here from the Westport border, which I guess is right here, along 136, along Van Zant, and then through South Norwalk. I don't remember exactly the routing, but it's going to go to Rowayton, right?
So be 4 Point Street across, and then you obviously have the bike lanes on Washington. And then you'll go on Water Street, which those are existing already, and then you'll go on to Burritt, and then Woodward. And
so it's following 136 the entire way.
Yeah, it's following 136, correct. Yep. And then Meadow and Wilson, and it'll take Wilson and get you onto Highland, McKinley, and then Rowayton Avenue.
So that's the east-west route, and then the north-south route.
Yep.
Starting in the north end is like,
right around where Flax Hill and Richards Ave meet.
So that's right here.
Yep. And right, yeah, in that, yep, right there, yep. And then that will take you all the way up to Route 123, New Canaan Avenue.
Yeah, and crucially, it's going to go right past NCC.
Correct, yes.
Like that's one of the biggest destinations I'd say that this route is serving. And you
Yep.
said it goes all the way up to
New Canaan Avenue.
along Fox Run and Ponus here.
Yep.
Cool. So you said that you said something about 1 to 2 weeks. Is that when you expect to get it to be able to
Well,
submit?
that's
the
when we're expecting
revised-
to get the sign off from DOT engineering.
Okay.
So
And
we
then
need
you'll
the sign off
resubmit it
from
to the other-
engineering to resubmit to policy and planning
Policy and
for
planning.
final approval. The policy and planning won't even look at release the money if engineering hasn't signed off on it.
Gotcha. And so
And
you,
that's just the 136 portion. So the other portion that we submit to policy and planning will include the sidewalk design and also the north-south bike routes, just so they know what we're doing and, they approve of what we're doing and they see what we're doing with the money as it alludes to what they awarded us the funding for. So we can't take the money and use it for something else.
so at this point, could you make a rough estimate of when,
Ooh.
if everything went according to plan,
Oof.
when construction would start?
I don't like guarantees. I don't like.
I'm not asking for a
timelines.
guarantee, just an estimate.
Especially with, potential paving that the DOT may be doing, which they still don't know yet. So we're waiting on that portion as well. We're hoping by the end of the year, this is all done just to be on the safe side. Hopefully it's earlier.
Cool.
But we're itching to get this done. We want to get this done. We've been wanting to get it done. So
Yeah, And it has taken a long time. Mostly it seems
it's
like
taken a
because
long
the state
time.
DOT
We've had this grant. DOT wants us to get this done as well. So that's why we've been working very well together to get this done and completed. So we just want to do it right and they want to do it right. Because there's a lot of new bike facilities that we're putting onto their streets as well with the bike boxes on state routes. So, like I said, they're just doing their thorough review and we're hoping to move this forward.
Cool. We do have a hand up. I haven't checked in a while. I'm sorry, Brian, if you've had your hand up for a long time. Did you have a comment? I guess, or Delene, can you promote Brian Boland?
Tanner, I can't when there's screen sharing because I can't get to
Oh.
that corner.
Sorry. There you go.
That's okay. Brian?
Awesome, thank you. And Greg, my question was right before the last thing you said before Tanner acknowledged me was bike boxes. Because really my question was specifically about the intersection of 136 where it meets East Ave at the East Norwalk train station. And that is arguably the least pedestrian friendly place near a train station imaginable.
Yes, it is.
My wife commutes to the city, so I hear about it all the time. And
yes, it is. And that portion that's part of the East Avenue widening project, that specific intersection.
Yeah.
It's not part of this project, the connectivity grant,
Gotcha.
because it goes along Winfield Ave, but yes, that is
But
definitely
like where Winfield hits east, all of a sudden, like I'm just wondering if anything is going to happen short term, because let's be realistic, the East Ave bridge thing it's years away from actually being usable. And
well, they're working on the widening project, the utility work that needs to be done along East Avenue right now.
Yep.
So that is not, that's not gonna, wait until, the walk bridge is done. But that is part of the widening project, and unfortunately it's, the timing is, obviously there is a major need for that right now. But it is part of a project. So we're just trying to move that project along, and it's been a lot of years in the making for that, and we're almost there.
Yeah.
And we're getting closer. So the fact
Cool,
that they're
I mean,
doing
I do.
utilities.
Yeah, it's funny. A lot, like my neighbors are confused about the new bike boxes. Tanner, if you could scroll up just like a quarter of an inch, there's bike boxes now next to the church there, which is really cool. And honestly, I haven't ridden my bike through there. I've been in a car at that intersection a handful of times. Well, a lot, actually.
It's not on Street View yet.
My kids go to Nathan Hale, so I go through here a lot. And that's actually my church.
Oh, no way.
So there are bike boxes right there now, where
Yes.
that gray car is, which is super cool.
Mhm.
But I was just wondering, as you know, as as 136 hits east, is there any short-term plans to make it a little more pedestrian friendly? I mean, for me, my number one complaint is cars in the right lane going straight, because I can't account for that. So when I'm on a bike, I assume they're going to hit me. And
Right, right. Yeah,
I
when
just
you're,
kind of assume every car is going to go straight, even though I know they're supposed to turn.
right, right.
Mhm.
You know, as for this project, and we totally understand that portion. And,
Yeah.
you know, unfortunately, around the cemetery, you know, East Avenue, Gregory Boulevard, Cemetery Street, we couldn't incorporate that into this connectivity project because this project is mainly striping.
Understood. Yep.
So the budget to do pedestrian facilities, you know, ramps and signals is just not in the budget to do this. And we were awarded it for the striping only specifically. But this portion is part of a larger long-term project that we want to complete and part of the East Avenue widening project. So, you know, and it is in conjunction with DOT because it is, you know, a state-owned roadway. So,
Yeah, I know that makes
you
everything.
know, and I know you don't like, people don't like hearing, well, you know, it's timing and we need interim solutions, but it's very complicated. It's wide pavement. It's that crosswalk is, you know, I remember we
Oh, yeah.
measured it. It's like 65 feet, 70 feet to get across, which is not
If it
ideal.
was
for
easy, you would have done it
pedestrians.
already. I know. So I was just wondering if there's any.
Yeah, no, not in the short
Specific
term.
plan.
No, not in the short term. You know, so, but we are identifying it with DOT and
Because my
it
wife
will be
walks through baskets,
addressed.
so-
So,
Could I just say something quickly? Greg,
go ahead,
and,
Christine.
so when I put the poem on that bike rack at the train station, East Norwalk, there was 2 racks there.
okay,
The amount of locks on that, it almost filled the entire rack, which I guess people leave their lock, right? The commuters. So
Right.
that is really like a well-used rack, and that
Yeah,
just
no,
shows you. Yeah.
and that's why, you know, they, you know, a couple of years ago, they finalized the East Norwalk TOD project. You know, that's, you know, that whole driveway entrance is gonna be, you know, reconfigured.
Mhm.
Definitely gonna be more pedestrian and bike friendly just to enter the driveway.
Yeah.
You know, let alone just the roadway itself. So,
Mhm.
you know, that's all part of the East Avenue widening project. I know it's been years in the making and I know people want it today, but it is coming. It will be here. And it, you know, I've seen the design plans for it and it's just a matter, you know, once they finish up that utility work, which they started earlier than expected to start it. So it is ongoing right now, even if it does cause a lot of traffic issues going through that way right now, but
I
it needs
still
to
can't
get completed before it's done.
I still can't imagine how far they can drop the road down where trucks can fit under this bridge. It's already like a crazy hill, but
Yeah.
I know smarter people than me have figured it out, but I stare at it. We talk about it all the time. We're like,
Right.
I have no idea how a truck is ever going to get under this bridge without hitting it on the way back up.
Yeah. Well, what
But
they've run templates, they've run, you know, height restriction templates and turning templates and,
cool.
you know, they know what they're doing. You
So
know,
Greg,
they're-
just to
yeah, go ahead, Tanner.
to make sure that we're all understanding what's going on here, the East Avenue Widening project is a project that Public Works is working on, right? That's outside your department?
Yes and no. I mean, it was already in motion. You know, it's been in motion obviously for years and, you know, it is a DPW, but it's, you know, it's a state project as well on top of it because you know, it is coordinated through DOT and just the DPW and the city in general. So it's part of multiple departments, not just DPW.
Okay. Because I connected with Vanessa Valladares, who is like the principal engineer for,
Yes, yep.
for DPW, for those of you
Yep.
who aren't familiar. And I've been meaning to schedule an appointment with her. She said she'd walk me through the plans because I don't think that those plans have ever been presented, at least not since I've been attending bike walk meetings. I don't think they've been presented. So I only know about the project kind of in the abstract.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, that may be easier for an in-person meeting to do something like that. Just because they are, you know, I've seen them before and, you know, they are pretty intense, the plan set. You know, it's hundreds and hundreds of planning sheets. So,
man.
you know, so that, you know, because you throw the utility work in there, the striping, there's a lot that goes into it. So,
what would be the best way to get like an overview of it? Like if I certainly don't need to look at 100 pages of plans.
right. I mean, I can connect with you offline, Tanner, and just kind of figure out how we want to go about meeting. And, I got to check, obviously, because it is, a DLT project as well. I don't think I can just come on and just present it to how it is. So we would have to discuss it offline and see what the best way to see it, and kind of go from there.
Okay. Yeah, we'll talk offline.
Okay.
Let's keep the agenda moving though. We talked about the connectivity grant.
Yes.
Brian, it looks like your hand's down. Put your hand up if you have other questions. Complete Streets RFP. I met with Garrett earlier this week, and so I got the lowdown on this, but for everybody else, do you want to give the summary, Greg?
Yeah, so just in the short of it, and Tanner, you can elaborate on it as well. So TMP, which recently submitted an RFP for a consultant to create a guidebook, if you will, for the city to use in designing future roadway improvements. And, if you look around other cities, there's, hundreds of other cities around the country that have developed Complete Streets guidebook. And what that guidebook is basically just for any roadway improvement project, a set of design standards. And whenever we do those improvement projects, we kind of look to that guidebook and look at those roadway standards, and we implement those as many complete street standards as we can into every single roadway improvement project that we do, whether it's an intersection or alongside of a roadway, or an entire corridor where we're going to implement just complete street at every single intersection along that corridor. So basically that guidebook has kind of become more of a standard detail, if you will, for designing future roadway projects around the city. And so the RFP, which is out, which I assume, does everybody know what complete streets are for the most part?
We had Mike Yosak come and give a talk on Complete Streets several months ago. But to recap for anybody else,
I keep saying complete streets, but it's for all modes of transportation, whether you're walking, biking, all vehicle types, and making it safe for all users of the road, if you will. So, so that RFP has been posted. It's going to be a rigorous process, and the interview process, is going to be very detailed, and it's going to be the chosen consultant will review all the current roadway standards and the roadway classifications within the city, and they're going to evaluate all the existing conditions of the roadways around the city. And basically what they'll do is they'll provide recommendations, which will be part of the future, built upon growing our roadway standards that we have right now. Obviously, like the engineering department has their own standard details that we use for sidewalk projects and lighting, and for other various striping, things of that sort. But these, this guidebook will help us implement into the future improvement roadway projects. And then, and part of that also, there'll be a public input process that will be involved once the consultant has been selected, and they kind of create the schedule with that consultant. And then obviously we would want the Bike Walk Commission, all of you, to join that public input process and have take your input in. So so that's pretty much the gist of it for the RFP. So we're just, right now it's open in the bid process, and we're just awaiting for bids right now.
Thanks, Greg. I'll add a couple of things to that. First of all, there is already a statewide complete streets law that basically says that I don't know if it pertains to every street in the state or just like a state route, but essentially it requires the street redevelopment project to design a street that accommodates all users. But there's not many details there. I don't think there's a design guidebook, right, Greg?
No, there's not a specific guidebook. It's usually hundreds of pages long, and You know, and this, just like the state, this would be also passed in the law, and it would be an ordinance, you know,
Yeah.
that would be passed in the law.
So for people who are new like me, an RFP essentially means that the city is asking a bunch of different consultants to submit a bid. Essentially, I think what Garrett told me is that you expect everybody to kind of bid at whatever the budget is, but they're going to essentially submit a proposal that says this is why we think that we can design really good guidelines for Norwalk, and we're going to take these things into account. And so one thing that I invite you all to do, I don't know if anybody here has connections with consulting firms that do planning like this, but if we could get a lot of firms that are good at active transportation and good at complete streets to apply to this, the more the better, so that we can get a consultant that will do a good job, that will really take pedestrians and cyclists into account when designing these guidelines.
And
So-
Tanner, just to add on that,
Yeah, go ahead.
when we created the RFP, you know, we did a pretty vigorous RFP, and we heavily described our, you know, our want to, you know, have, you talked about expanded mobility and active transportation and building upon the pedestrian network, you know, not only just within the urban center, but also, you know, outside of it as well, to, you know, get more accessibility into the city, you know, the interior of the city. So that's something that we definitely push for, and
Awesome.
just really building upon the bike network. And
Yeah,
you
I
know,
haven't read the RFP yet, so thanks for mentioning.
yeah,
that.
no, it's a pretty long document. We used a lot of diagrams, and, you know, we took a lot of, you know, a lot of verbiage and diagrams from previous master plans, and kind of, you know, put those in there, and, you know, kind of included a lot of documentation, you know, very specific items that we expect the consultant to consider, you know, when building this guidebook.
Cool. Well, thanks for that update. Let's keep
Can
moving
I-
in the interest of time.
can I add
go
one
ahead.
thing there,
Yeah,
Tanner?
Sam, go ahead.
I think it's just important to acknowledge that if Complete Streets works, it's still our job to advocate exclusively for cyclists and walkers, to in an effort to be the balance, or the legislative branch that contributes to Complete Streets.
Yeah. So in other words, like, it doesn't make us redundant.
Right. Yeah. Like exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And every intersection is not going to be built the same. It can't be the same. So, you know, there are, you know, different aspects that are implemented. So it's just finding the best practices of those complete streets from the guidebook and implementing, you know, to accommodate the most roadway users.
Yeah. And then really quick, Greg, while we have you, can I bring
Yes.
your attention to another intersection that I believe desperately needs a crosswalk?
We'll add it to the list. Which one is that?
So this is the intersection of, I guess it is, yeah, it's Kent Road and Danbury Road. I believe that's still Norwalk. It may be getting pretty close to the Wilton line, but it should be. But while I was at the dry cleaners today, or the laundromat, getting the suit that I destroyed this weekend instead of being at the Earth Day celebration cleaned, I saw probably the closest instant death I've almost seen occur on that corner. It was the closest call I've seen with a motorist and a pedestrian, I think, in my life.
I think sadly it is in Wilton.
It is in Wilton.
Yeah, it's like
Tanner,
right
can you
over the
just-
border.
Can you just scroll
Okay.
in a little bit, Tanner?
Yeah. So here's Kent Road. Here's Danbury Road. The town line is right behind this strip mall, if I recall correctly.
Yeah. Yeah, I think,
Okay.
yeah, Sam, I think that is, yeah.
All right,
Because
well, I
don't
can address it with
recall, I don't
Wilton.
recall seeing these two roads in the roadway list.
I think the town line
Gotcha.
goes through iPark.
Yeah, so I work in
Yeah, I
iPark,
think it's-
unfortunately.
it's
Yeah,
this
because
line
you
right
work-
here.
You work in Wilton, but like my wife's doctor is in Norwalk down the hall.
Well, actually, my phone will switch from Norwalk weather to Wilton weather, depending on what side of the building I'm on.
Sorry, Greg, Sam, you reminded me of one I've been wanting to bring up, and I'm sorry to go off task, but it's right down the street, and it is Norwalk. It's Walgreens and Main Avenue on that same Route 7 down. There's that intersection, and there's a lot of people crossing, And it's very scary to watch them because they're going to housing or something.
Oh, this one.
Yeah, see Broad Street and Main Street. People are crossing there. And there's just nowhere there's no crosswalk there.
Yeah, this is an ugly crossing right there.
Yes,
That's a
no,
100
it
foot,
is.
maybe 80-foot crossing,
That
70
is
foot on a good day.
yeah, that's gonna take a lot more than just some striping to fix. You know, that's definitely another intersection to add to the list of, you know, some better, you know, some concrete infrastructure and better striping and, yeah, and
Yeah, that
definitely
one
better
should be a
signals and pedestrian
yeah.
signals as well. That's needed.
Right. That's a priority because of the traffic, the amount of traffic.
Yes. Yes.
So a higher level question for you, Greg.
Yes.
What's the most effective avenue for us to report like intersections like this that we think need addressing? Is it to bring them up in this meeting? Is it to submit customer service? Is it to send you an email? Is it to send the mayor
No,
an email?
I would say send us an email, you know, whether it's Jim, Garrett, myself, you know, you can CC me on anything, you know, Jim and Garrett, we have between the whole TMP department, we have a lot going on right now. I don't know anybody in our department that isn't, you know, doesn't have about a dozen projects they're working on right now. So yeah, just email us and let us know. I mean, we probably identified the same things. We have a list of projects too that, you know, we don't have anything for, you know, per se a design for, but we know there are deficiencies. You know, especially once we get back, once VHB creates that database, we'll be able to see where there aren't sidewalks, where there aren't ramps. So we'll be able to see a lot of that.
Yeah, to fill people in, if people aren't familiar with what Greg's talking about, the city hired VHB, a consultant, to do a sidewalk audit, basically to catalog every single sidewalk in the whole city. And they've been working on that and they're just about done. So
yeah, the collection process is over now. They're just creating the database for us.
One other high level question for you, Greg.
Yes.
Is there any initiative or any way that we could get money specifically for improvements for connectivity to the NRVT? Like when Christine mentioned this intersection, the first thing I noticed is that it's Broad Street, and like the NRVT pops out right here, and there's like not even a sidewalk.
Right.
Is there any initiative to like specifically to get connectivity to trails like that?
I mean, there are, you know, trail funded grants that do come out. You know, specifically, I don't know if it's for only the trail themselves or any off-street connections that will connect them. So that would be, it would depend on the grant and what it would describe.
Okay, but like we'd have to find some third-party grant. There's nothing within the city that's
yeah. I mean, you know, we always, you know, apply for new sidewalk money, and you know, DPW, you know, they get their money to redo existing sidewalks. But you said there was doesn't look like there's any sidewalks there, so that would be a new sidewalk.
Yeah,
to go there, and
it's a pretty anticlimactic end to the trail, right?
It is.
I just noticed that Friday, yeah, that there's nowhere to walk.
Yeah, no, and I agree, and you know, that's you know, like Tanner alluded to, the VHB, you know, sidewalk assessment's going to give us a lot of that information, and you know, and that's going to also help us in the cost as well, because we can kind of get a gauge upon what kind of cost it would be to do a lot of these sidewalk portions, because you know, that's why we did this audit, because you know, we know there's a lot of sidewalks missing, but where are those gaps, and how many are there, and what kind of deficiencies are we looking at? So this is definitely helping us. It was definitely worth the investment to make and kind of get a better overall view of what we're missing and what we need going forward. And it also doesn't help as well with the cost of products and materials these days, because we've seen over the last couple months that the cost for some of these projects is much higher than they were, you know, a year ago, unfortunately. So, you know, a sidewalk a year ago was much cheaper than it is now.
Well, it's sad, but it's understandable. In the interest of time, though, let's keep rolling.
I just have one last really quick question for Greg.
Okay,
Greg, do you
go
have a
ahead,
contact in Wilton where I could recommend that crosswalk?
Well, the only person that I know there is who used to work in Norwalk.
Okay, well, I'll try and connect with you offline. Maybe they can be a
Okay.
way-in. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, connect. Yeah, I'll shoot you an email with that. Yeah.
And if we have more questions for Greg, like Greg's not leaving. Greg's only
Yeah, I'm
halfway
not
through his
going
agenda.
anywhere. Yeah, I mean, I'm on till Tanner says the meeting's over, so
I feel like Greg's in high demand. I don't want to risk it.
I still got stuff to share and update you guys.
Yeah, let's hear about the
Yeah,
Sono garage bike rack.
All right, so you guys were talking about it before. So yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to be completed before the bike to work day later this month. It was an ambitious, kind of, goal of ours to have that done. But obviously we're moving a handicap space and reallocating it to another portion within the garage. And we're going to take that space and we're going to build bike parking on the first floor there when you come in. And we're going to create bike parking. What I can share with you from last month is we're working with Snyder Group. James Emery is kind of taking the lead on that to kind of build to maximize that area and to its fullest potential and get in as many bikes as possible. And also working on the aesthetic work and murals on the wall and any signage to really help improve that area and make that bike parking area really stick out in the garage. So like I said, we're working with Snyder Group to to kind of put together some concepts and to maximize that space. And we'll see what kind of concepts they have, and within the next week or two we should have that those concepts, and we'll start looking at them and kind of going from there. And then just to piggyback off that, our bike rack RFP, which is out now. So once we get that, then we'll be able to, we can have the design, but we'll need the RFP in order to actually order all the materials and the products that we're going to need to build it out. So, there's a couple of moving pieces in that design. So, but we are moving forward with it. And, our hope is to get it in soon and get it installed.
Thanks, Greg. I got a follow-up question about the Sono garage. First of all, I love to hear that you're trying to fit in as many racks as possible. That's great. And I didn't know about the mural and the other artwork until now. That's awesome. I'm curious though about access. I'm sharing my screen here, this 3D view of the garage.
It's hard to do it on the just from the aerial view from pulling in. So we may have to get some like pictures and show like the path that it takes to go in. So
I think
we can
mostly
get,
I'm just wondering,
I'll see if I can get like some pictures to show you where proximity is, because it's kind of hard to show you where exactly it is just from the aerial view.
That's not what
I think Tanner's question is that it's a vehicular entry and there's no way to direct enter the garage on a bike. I think that's your question.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, this arm right here, like you can see in the street view image, the arm is short enough that like you could ride between the arm here and the curb. But like, is that going to be like the advertised route of access to the racks, or is the advertised route going to be to walk your bike through the front doors and then back into the garage?
Well, right now we're just looking at getting the rack, and then we definitely want to look at the garage entrance, and even just the driveway entrance as a whole, because it is rather, there is a lot of space there and a lot of pavement, and they do have that, that electric plant right out front that's vacant. So it's definitely something probably more in the long term to kind of redo that driveway and have better bike access to get into the actual garage.
Well, and I imagine that that'll be part of like the work that VHB does with
correct
with redevelopment, right?
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about
correct.
like in the shorter term, if we could think through this and do something that's quick and easy, even if that's just like putting a sharrow down right here on the access route so that it's obvious that you can enter the parking garage on a bike there. I mean, as a cyclist, I would much rather be able to bike in than to have to walk my bike in through the front doors. Especially if I'm late for a train, like I'm definitely going to do it.
Gotcha.
So if we could make it accessible for bikes, and I think it wouldn't be that hard. Maybe, I'd have to go try it out in person because I've actually ridden through this opening before because the racks are on the other side.
Okay.
But yeah, if that could just be part of the thought process, that'd be great.
Okay, yeah, no, absolutely. I will bring it up and we'll definitely discuss it.
Cool.
It's something we can do in the short term.
Awesome, thanks. Any other questions about bike racks? Cool beans. Okay, do you want to give a quick update about the Highland Avenue bid process?
Yes, absolutely. So the Highland Ave sidewalk project, which we discussed last month, curbing and sidewalks, about a mile's worth, which contains Brookside and Brian McMahon High School. And it will build upon the previous Safe Routes project on the southerly end of Highland Avenue. The bid process closed last week. And tomorrow night, the low bid is going in front of the DPW Common Council meeting, which, the low bid will be, set up for approval by the committee of the DPW Committee of the Common Council. And then from there, go to Planning and Zoning Commission, before heading to Common Council, obviously for approval, later this month. So, so we have all the bids in, and we are hoping we have a timeline. We want to get as much of the sidewalk work done around the two schools done this summer. That was part of our schedule in the bid process, was to get done, as much as we can around the schools so that it won't cause any issues once the next school session starts up later this year. So we're pretty excited to, start this project. It's been a few years in the making. But we're excited to have it started up, and we're happy that we got some bids in and we can forward the process now.
Thanks, Greg. Just for anybody who's missing the context there, this is a project to put sidewalks basically up and down the entire length of Highland Avenue, to make the schools more accessible.
From Charcoal Road to Meredith Court, just north of Meredith Court, south of Flax Hill.
Yeah, so Meredith Court's right here. Am I sharing my screen? Yeah, I am. North of Meredith Court is included in the Highland Avenue intersection redesign, and that's
right.
Mike Yosak's working on that, right?
Correct, yes.
So it's just because there's two different projects. This project includes Meredith Court all the way down to, you said, Charcoal, which is right here.
Charcoal
so I guess,
Road, yep.
Yeah, it doesn't include Roten Middle School, but it includes
that one. So the Roten project was a previous Safe Routes to School project, which did the sidewalks already. So this is just basically continuing that. And then we're also including another, about a quarter mile strip of sidewalk between Devil's Garden, just south of the school property, on the other side, on the southerly, western portion of Highland Avenue as well.
Oh, okay. So the work that'll be done this summer is almost entirely on the east side, and plus this one little bit on the west side.
Correct, yes. So it's about a mile's worth altogether of sidewalk.
Got it.
That was a nice article in the paper they wrote. Great.
Yes, it was. Yep.
And when they mentioned our group too, and congratulations, you're doing excellent work, I have to say.
Thank you. Well, now we're just hoping to get it all completed. So, but we're very excited about it. It's been, like I said, it's been years in the making. Any questions? No? All right, and then Tanner, do you want me to just give a quick update on the paving and striping? Uh-oh, I think Tanner left. You there, Tanner?
Hello. Yeah, sorry, I lost one of my monitors for some reason.
Uh-oh, okay. All right, well, I'll go through the paving and striping real quick.
Yeah, please do.
So as of right now, there's, obviously we've been meeting with DPW very frequently for not only, the paving and striping, but for other projects as well. So we have a lot of things that we're going through right now. But right now there's nothing to really share with the commission that's set in stone right now. Obviously the city, on the city's website, there is the paving schedule, and there, are a list of amendment streets as well. So there isn't really a timeline on when those streets on the paving schedule are going to get paved. And what streets on the amendment list that may potentially get paved this year. Right now there's, they have to go through all the utility work and getting all the ramps and sidewalk work and any curbing that needs to get done first prior to paving. So a lot of the paving won't get done right, at this moment in time, just as the season's kind of started up now for the paving schedule. But later this year, you'll see more roads getting milled and paved, and that's where our striping work will start up there. But we continue to coordinate with DPW, and any road that's, we're looking to, to restripe and that's newly paved, we're gonna, evaluate that road and, on an individual basis and put out the best striping layout that we can for that road. And we will obviously coordinate with you guys and the Bike Walk Commission and keep you posted, as we go through that process and, work through street by street.
Hey, Greg,
Yes.
I just want to ask, or bring up a point and ask a quick question.
Yep.
Do you know, and let me get through it first because it's
Yeah.
gonna, before you answer, what's going on with Restrox and the utility work, and when do you see that complete? I mean, that affects me personally, but I hear a lot of people comment to me about that, and also I see a lot of chatter on the internet forums, people complaining about that through route in particular, and kind of related to that, if you could pass on to Jim and Garrett and also to Anthony Carr at DPW. I've been noticing just the quality of the patchwork that's being done temporarily is absolutely horrible. When they're cutting a narrow trench for pipe replacement or whatever, the fill that's going back in is in some places leaving, a very uneven surface and, creating a rut several inches deep that can easily catch a car tire and, probably, force inexperienced drivers or elderly drivers or, people that have their attention swaying momentarily to get their wheel caught in a rut and probably, potentially lose control if they get caught in the wrong position. It's just, and not even talking about bicyclists, but, people on bikes, it's like extremely hazardous. These parallel cuts that are so narrow with several inches of vertical discrepancy. So it's like somebody needs to be out there from the city and it's maintaining some sort of QC on the temporary work that's being done because it's abysmal. And if it's the contractor that's doing that, they need to be redoing this work. And if it's not, if it's deteriorating in a trench, then they need to be told that they need to, mill an overlay or do something on like half of the road, because it's absolutely horrible to leave the roads in this condition when people are there with the paving machine, repaving a third to 2/3 of the lane, but leaving the rest of it to just be awful.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's my gripe. And
So Colin, we've got a public comment. Ben Handpeter is saying this applies on Strawberry Hill too. I ride my bike through there and going downhill, the bumps try to throw me off my seat. And then also anecdotally, the same thing happened to me on Morton Street by my house. I got a flat tire because I hit one of these sharp edges of this channel. So yeah, I totally agree that it's a problem. Do you want to turn it over to Greg, Colin?
Yeah, and I guess just one other thing that I've encountered recently is on Marshall Street, they've recently been doing some utility work, and there hasn't been any flagger or any traffic monitoring position visible when I've passed through on my bike, and it's reduced to one lane. So they haven't had the safety person that's usually out there to check for the cars coming from either direction. So it's been a reduction where you have to enter the oncoming lane, and there's not been a person that's been visible to assist with traffic. So that's the couple things that I have on my list.
Gotcha. No, I mean, that's definitely, items that need to be addressed. As far as Marshall Street is concerned, I know from, our cost estimates that we've done and accounting for, uniform traffic persons and, obviously we always would like to have a, a uniformed police officer there, but obviously sometimes they can't. And in that time, there is supposed to be an ununiformed flagger there to direct traffic. So that's definitely something, that shouldn't happen. There should always be somebody directing traffic, especially like you mentioned, Colin, when there's only one lane of traffic. So, you know, I will definitely bring that forward, and I will also, you know, bring that forward also about the patchwork quality, because there may be something, you know, that DPW has already recognized and has already, you know, maybe addressing with some of the, you know, with some of the patchwork that's being done. So I will bring it up and make sure it gets to the right people.
Thanks, Craig.
Thank you.
We've got 3 minutes left, and we have one more agenda item, and that's just to approve minutes from April.
Tanner,
Any
Tanner,
pressing
if you don't
comments?
mind-
Oh, Craig, yeah, go
Tanner,
ahead.
real quick, I just have 2 miscellaneous items that won't take long at all.
Okay, shoot.
Real quick, on Monday night, there will be an industrial waterfront study, open forum. There's a link on the website that everybody can attend.
Greg, is that next Monday or tonight?
Next Monday night. My apologies. Next Monday night, yes. Yep, so it'll be on Zoom. So you can click the link and you can join the call and you know, public input.
You can also go to our Facebook page, because I posted about it on our Facebook page.
There you go. And then just to give you all a quick update on Wall Street, the public input sessions will be taking place sometime in early June. Once the date and time is set, we'll send it out obviously to the commission, and I'm sure some of you will be able to, I'm sure some of you will find it before we'll send it out, but you know, obviously we encourage all of you to attend those public information meetings, and but we will let you know as soon as we get the exact date and time, location. We will make sure you all know.
Awesome. I will be there.
And that is it.
Cool. Thanks, Greg. Any last pressing matters before we approve these minutes? Great. I am pulling them up. I believe we still have a quorum.
Still here.
Sweet. Okay. Well, here are the minutes. I'm just going to scroll through so you can all read them really quick, but that doesn't matter because you all read them already, right? I actually did read them this month, and I didn't find any issues with them. So I will move to approve the minutes. Anybody want a second?
I'll second.
Okay, thanks. I just need a vote from Sam because I saw Christine vote already.
Oh, yeah. Aye.
Great. That's all 4 of us. The motion passes in the affirmative. Cool. Well, thank you everybody for showing up. Always good to see you all. Thanks for all the
Motion to
participation.
adjourn.
Thank you.
Colin makes a motion to adjourn. I second. Anybody opposed?
Nay.
Great. We're adjourning. Thanks, everybody. See you next
Have a
month.
great night.
Thank you all for
Thank
doing
you,
this.
everyone. Have a good month.